more clearly, and I enthusiastically recommend Prevagen. It has helped me an awful lot.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
Attention, the makers of Roundup have set aside over $10 billion for victims of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
If you used Roundup and were then diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, call attorney Philip Georges.
Call me right now. You may be entitled to substantial compensation.
Call now, and in less than 2 minutes you can find out if you may qualify.
If you were diagnosed with
our minds on our foreheads.
You can see a doctor online. Easy. Just go to GrEX.com.
Our new app-controlled hearing aid that gives you full.
For watching, this show is all about public, private, and blockchain companies. We bring you the innovators behind the companies making the headlines in that space. Some are sponsored, some are invited, all are curated and focused on telling you, the viewers, their story. Here we go. Welcome back. Carry Health was created to simplify healthcare delivery. It is a mobile healthcare solution that allows members to connect with a network of U.S.-based certified doctors 24/7. And with me to talk more about Carry Health is the CEO, Ian Parker. Welcome, Ian.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me back.
So it's been a while since we talked. The world has changed since the last time, and it's been a challenging year, no doubt about it, for so many people. How has Carry Health adjusted to this pandemic?
As you said, it's been a very challenging year. I think what's defined us is our ability to find the opportunities in those challenges. We have made a number of adjustments. I've been asked a number of times, has our business changed? And the answer is no. The world around us has changed, and our business model has evolved with it. Just to eliminating sort of confusion out there, on our ticker, it still says Emerald Organic Products. Emerald Organic Products has changed its name to Carry Health to better reflect the business itself. That has officially been done. And should be reflected on our ticker in the near future here. One of the things that we saw early on, especially during the initial phases of this crisis, was that we needed to focus on virtual care. We always aspired to be an overall health and wellness company, and we felt that virtual care and digital pharmacy were going to be key parts of the solution to this crisis, and something that was going to be trend forward in the future, even after the crisis. So we focused on those things, and that's how we evolved the business during the crisis.
Well, I can only imagine that the digital healthcare stuff has just soared for you during this, because that was really all a lot of people had. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty. Explain everything you do. Is there telemedicine, delivery, pharmacy, everything that you're doing?
Sure. If you look at our digital ecosystem, it goes far past just episodic care. It's not just addressing acute and common conditions. We didn't want to have just an ecosystem that was solely based on acute and common conditions. We built an ecosystem that addresses the continuum of care. So when you go into the digital ecosystem, you have virtual care, you have digital pharmacy. We've also wrapped that with unique fintech. The idea here was to make sure that when you come into the ecosystem, you don't just come in for what you need at that moment in time and then have to find whatever else it is you need on the continuum of care somewhere else. You find everything you need within the ecosystem. So when you look at what we have, it's really a digital healthcare ecosystem. It combines virtual care, telemedicine, telechat, 24/7 coverage. It combines the pharmaceutical delivery, the digital pharmacy, pharmaceutical discounts, and all of the other things that are necessary for the patient to get the type of care that they want. The other point I would make is that we didn't just look at it from a patient standpoint. We looked at it from a doctor and a pharmacist standpoint as well. So when we built the system, we didn't just build it to make sure that the user experience was good for just the patient. We built it so that the user experience is good for the doctor, the pharmacist.
Okay, so walk me through this. So let's say I have a skin issue or something, and I'm a member, right? So is there a cost to be a member, and how much is that?
Yes, so there is, we have a membership plan that goes through Carry Global. That comes at for unlimited telehealth visits and pharmaceutical discounts, that comes at $25 per patient. And there is a family plan as well at around $35 or so. Those are the subscription-based plans. Then you also have employer-sponsored plans, those type of things that we may be involved in as well. Those within that plan, if you are on that plan, you just simply go to your telephone or your iPad or whatever mobile device you have, and you can simply log in, and within 15 minutes you'll be talking to a physician.
Okay.
You can then tell them what your problem is, and they can then address your issues. And there's other things within the ecosystem that will help you get the therapies.
Okay, well, that's what I was going to ask. You say they make a diagnosis and I need a cream or a pill or something like that. So then they can work directly with the pharmacy part and place that order?
Correct.
So it's okay, like you mentioned, ecosystem. So it's on ecosystem. Healthcare.
That's right. Seamless to the patient, right? We want your journey to be seamless. We don't want you to have to go out and search and figure out how to get the next part of the care. That's the continuum of care that we're talking about.
Okay, so finally, anything you'd like to add about Carry Health, where you're going, about the company?
Sure. I think it's important that we mention the team that we have. It's once again, it's not just the technology. It's not just the technology rolling the technology out into the marketplace. It's the team itself that has a deep understanding of what the needs are within the healthcare industry and what the patient's needs are, and integrating those technologies in a way that's seamless for those users. And when I say users, I'm talking about the doctor, the pharmacist, and the patient, right? So addressing all of their needs so that we can roll out a very robust platform very quickly. And I think the only last thing I would add is that we're all in this together, right? So having a healthcare company and having people on the front lines, these are very important, and we all need to do our part.
Thank you so much, Ian. It is great to hear about this and very exciting, and feels like there's been a game-changing moment during this for digital healthcare.
There definitely has. It's definitely a paradigm shift, and we look forward to coming back and sharing more of the developments.
Great. Look forward to it. Thank you, Ian. Winston Gold is a junior mining company focused on high-grade, low-cost mining opportunities. And with me is the CEO, Marie Nye, and also the Executive Chairman, Joseph Carrabba, to tell us more and an update. So we talked about a month or so ago about what you were doing in Montana mainly. But can you give me, just for those who maybe didn't see that interview, some background on the company, how you acquired the property, and what you're doing right now? Whoever.
Sure. You're the historian of the company, so I'll yield to you.
Okay, Joe, thanks. Hi, James. Nice to be with you again. Yes, we had a similar operation, and we started in 2005. It was about 27 miles to the northwest of Helena. We had a pretty experienced team on the ground, and we were looking for another opportunity. And one of the fellows that was involved in the company was a fellow by the name of Mike Gunsinger, and he had a former mechanic miner that used to work for him that kept telling him about this high-grade gold opportunity in his neck of the woods, which was in the Winston area of Montana, which is roughly 27 miles to the southeast of Helena, the state capital. So we sent our geologist down there, Ben Porterfield, who was also on our board of directors, to have a look for us. And Ben's a very, very experienced geo. He's also extremely adept at finding data. He belongs to a lot of mining associations. He's got access to old companies' archives and universities. So he's able to dig up information that better than anybody I've ever seen. And so Ben was prepared, went there, and noticed that the property that this gentleman was talking about, his name was I just slipped my mind for a second, but Marcus Holmes. And Marcus was very, very helpful in introducing us to the area. There was another owner that had the adjoining property, and his name was Darko Smilovic. And the two fellows, we made a deal to lease both properties from them on a very, very minimal basis, because in 2014 it was very hard to raise money after the spike in gold. So we acquired the property on a lease, and we have a lease to purchase arrangement. So that's how we acquired the assets. And unbeknownst to, I'll just tell you a little bit about that. Unbeknownst to even the property owner, there was historically 640 to 700 drill holes put into this property back between, I'm going to say 1985 and 95, by some very good operators like Phelps Dodge and Western Energy. So the property owner didn't even know. So we had that pretty good database. So we were quite pleased to acquire this ground that way.
Okay, very interesting. And I'm just imagining this is a very capital intensive industry. You spend a lot of money, research, labor. How do you know, like, the chances are that you're going to be able to find a piece of land that's going to have some benefits?
Well, that's always a good question, Jane, and we get a lot of that from the early stage investors that really want to diversify their portfolio into gold, but again know nothing about it and all that. And it's based on a lot of science, a lot of technical competencies that come through with specific skill sets that go with it. So we always go look, number one, where gold has been found in the past. We don't go out into some green pasture where nothing has ever been found, and such as the Winston district, as they're called. It's a very historic gold mining district with there were several high-grade mines that were mined back in the early 1900s, and were shut down primarily, one, to technology. They got to the water table and they didn't have the ability to pump water, or else when the government in the 1930s really took the gold industry over, if you will, set the price for gold, and gold couldn't be owned by private citizens. It had to be sold to the government. And that really shut a lot of the properties down. They weren't out of gold, but they didn't mine it out from there. I mean, since those days of the early 1900s, when those discoveries, and now if you advance, we have the core drilling capability. We can drill from the surface, core drills, 3-inch solid holes, if you will, and pull the core out of the ground that goes across the vein, the ore-bearing vein that the gold is in. We have highly skilled analytical labs, so we can do the chemistry and see how much gold is in in the deposit that we have, and then we can take that into a geological model, these new 3-dimension models that you can spin and turn in every different way, so we can get the calculations of the grade. And from there, we take it into a sophisticated financial model. So, again, at the end of the day, it's all about can you make a profit or not? And we can run the scenarios off of that with a lot of de-risking and risk looks at it as we do the different scenarios on the financials. So a very complicated yet known set of skills that people are educated with, and we approach it very scientifically.
Yeah. Okay, so Marie, let's finish up with you then. Just to kind of tell me what you're looking at as we close out to 2020 here, and what 2021 might hold for the company.
Yeah, thanks, Jane. Well, where we're at right now is, I think from the last interview, we're getting pretty close to starting some production. We're able to start up the mill. I'm pleased to report that the mill ran yesterday for 12 hours on a testing basis. So we actually ran some low-grade material actually to start with, because we don't want to put any high grade and throw the gold into the tailings pond while we're testing it. But we actually put some low-grade material through the mill yesterday for 12 hours. And we got we don't know what the recoveries are yet, because that's the purpose of the testing, but we've certainly got some stuff that's happening there on recovery. We'll be testing that and assaying that in our own assay lab, I might add, so we can get quick turnarounds on what the gold content is. And we're starting up our first production stope in the mine, actually. So that they just broke into the ore last night. They'll be taking what they call a drift round on ore probably today. And that'll be our first production ore coming out of the mine. And we've started our secondary escapeway. We've got that up about 35 feet right now. If that's required from a safety compliance standpoint with MSHA. So everything's going very, very well. We're quite pleased with the progress we've made to date, and happy that we're actually going to probably produce some gold by the end of the year. Not a lot, but we're going to produce some.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Marie and Joseph, for continuing to update us on Winston Gold, and look forward to talking next year and getting an update.
You bet. Well, thank you, Jane.
Thanks, Jane. Have a happy holiday and a happy
You
new year.
You
For
too.
sure. Stay safe.
Native Coin is a company that is tokenizing the entire tribal experience, restaurants, casinos, and we've talked to Jeff Johnson, the Chief Operating Officer, before, and he's got with us again today to give us an update, Jeff, and then also you've got some special guests. So why don't let's start with just a summarization of Native Coin for people who haven't seen it before, and then tell me where you're at. I know you're at Olympia, Washington, the Native American Red Wind Casino. So talk about why it's special and introduce your guests.
Sure, yeah. Native coin is a sovereign currency for the Native nations, and the idea behind it is to help with the invisibility factor that's going on, and also to attract outside investment to the sovereign lands. And today we're at the Red Wind Casino in Olympia, Washington, with Mr. Simmons and Jay Simmons of the Nisqually tribe, and we brought them on to kind of give their point of view on what we have going on with Native coin and what that looks like to them.
Well, busy is good, so it means things are happening. So now, Michael, the Chief Financial Officer of Native Coin, it's great to see you again, and you have a huge announcement. You want to break some news here today?
I have two huge announcements. The first announcement I'd like to announce is that our partners CashQ and Beam Platform and us have actually just created and are going to be launching our own Native Coin exchange here very shortly. And this next announcement, I need to be a little careful due to NDAs and whatnot, but I can state that Native Coin has secured 4 exchange listings already for 2021, and that's just the beginning. And I'd like to pass it off to Irina at this time and have her explain and go into more detail about what the Native Coin exchange is going to offer. So go ahead, Irina.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you so much, Native Coin team, for inviting me. It's an honor to be on NASDAQ again. So I'm a CEO and co-founder of money transfer services CashQ. We help people to send money globally just in a few steps, and the most important part, without any specific applications or complicated interfaces. We live in your messenger. So today we already connected with Telegram, and in the first quarter of 2021, we will be in main messengers like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, iMessage, and so forth. Through our researches, we have found out that a lot of people are still technically challenged, but everyone has a phone and everyone loves texting. So with us, the full process takes simple text messaging. The easiest makes possible for people worldwide to participate in a digital money transfer. Over 60 countries, bank cards, wallets, mobile money are available for our users.
Kind of accelerated the adoption of digital currency and just doing business digitally. And I know, Jeff, you and I have talked about that too. Do you want to give me a wrap up as we're closing out on the end of this most unusual year? And what it's been like for Native Coin and what you're looking forward to next year.
Sure. Yeah, this year has been one of the craziest years of my life, and definitely crazy for Native Coin. The coronavirus has really sped up the process of digital currencies. They're all over in the news now. Banks are getting their own, countries are getting their own. We've been planning on this, working on this for the last 3 years, and we've lived up to all the promises, everything we talked about on your show, talked about on our website, talked about in our original white paper, and a lot more. And so to recap, the on and off ramp for Native Coin through the ATM machines and exchanges, we've got, like Michael said, 4 new exchanges coming, including the native exchange with a Qcash. And then moving forward into the next year, we just set up a brand new website, a new white paper. You guys can check that out, native-coin.com. native-coin.com, and it talks all about what we have going on our roadmap in the future. And we're very honored to be here with Mr. Simmons and at his Red Wind Casino with the Nisqually tribe. It's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and best of luck to you next year. And Jeff, always appreciate talking to you, and also John Simmons and Jay Simmons and Michael and Arena. It's great to get an update, and as we move forward into 2021. So thank you.
Thank you.
GreenBox is a fintech company that helps people leverage their business financials through blockchain technology. So with me to explain more about exactly how this works is Ben Aris, the chairman of the company. So Ben, great to see you and hear more about GreenBox. Do you want to just start with kind of telling me what makes you stand out versus a lot of the other competitors these days?
Yeah, so GreenBox is the only payment infrastructure company that utilizes 100% blockchain ledger technology for payments. We continuously work on technology upgrades and release new generations of our technology on a regular basis. Lastly, our approach is holistic. We develop the operating system and the applications on top of that. And we own all of the intellectual properties for the technology that is deployed in our ecosystem.
Okay, and then what drew you to GreenBox in particular? Because there is a lot of fintech out there, a lot of it's very exciting technology, and it certainly seems like the future, but what was GreenBox especially drew you to that company?
Well, I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm the co-founder of this company. And through a series of smart and lucky events, GreenBox became the only company that has both the application and the infrastructure for blockchain ledger in the payment space. We started this company about 4 years ago, released our first commercial platform in the first quarter of 2019. The second generation became available in April of this year, and we're looking forward to releasing our third generation probably by the end of this year, beginning next year.
Okay. And then the blockchain technology is what's underlying it, right? And I know, a lot of people can't quite understand blockchain. I mean, do we need to use fintech, or is this just, is that like we don't need to understand code to use the internet, or do we need to? What do you think?
I get this question quite a bit. So over the different interviews, I've developed this analogy that may explain to people why use blockchain ledger for payments to begin with. So let's say you and I have a meeting, and as you come to the meeting, you drive your newly restored Porsche 356 to the valet parking, and I see this car as a Porsche enthusiast myself, and I would like to buy it. So I offer you $85,000, and you accept. So far, traditional legacy payment processing. Here's where it deviates from that. So you give the key to the car to the valet. The valet checks your provenance, meaning the title, the insurance, and your authorization to sell the car. I give the valet a key to a safety deposit box that has $85,000, and the valet checks my provenance, that the money is there, that I have authorization to transact on it, etc. And here's the kicker. The valet gives me your key and gives you my key. We are both satisfied.
So earlier this year, you launched a second generation technology. Can you explain that platform and how it fits into the business model?
Yes. So as you stated, the Generation 2 was released earlier this year in about April. And it added a few strong new features to our ecosystem, including crypto and forex handling. This enabled the globalization for GreenBox with the currently Europe focused. And we, as a result, onboarded very sizable clients with transactional volumes in Europe doubling every month since we launched it. This Generation 2 also allowed integration with the newly acquired licensed money service business company in Canada. Generation 3, planned for release towards the end of the year or beginning next year, offers yet additional new capabilities. And I'm very excited to discuss those. These new capabilities add a stablecoin ecosystem, automated blockchain provenance for regulated onboarding, banking infrastructure, payment facility management, and increased capacity and speed. And I should say that we are already boarding new verticals for Generation 3, and we already have significant volume commitments for that release. So we're very much looking forward to that Generation 3.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it. It sounds like you've got a very kind of concrete plan going forward. So thank you so much, Ben, for joining us. It's great to hear about GreenBox, and best of luck.
Thank you for your time, Jane.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
The 2020 election is over, and Newsmax, one of America's leading news outlets, is conducting a national poll. We're asking you if you think President Trump should concede the election to Joe Biden. Press report.
Already facing its share of challenges.